There's a goblet on the table. I do not remember you. What is up, and welcome back to another episode of So There's That. I am your host, Kivan Shi, and I don't know what accent I was saying in this introduction, but hello. I'm super excited about today's bonus episode because we are talking everything interview with the vampire, okay? I have my Kindle with me. I am currently in the book Lestat. I don't know if y'all can see that for those watching the video. But I'm on chapter 7 of the Vampire Lestat. And I finished season 2 of Interview with the Vampire, and my heart is full and empty at the same time. At this juncture, I feel exactly how Louis and Lestat feel whenever they are both near and apart from one another. This must be what that is. So yeah, before we get in there, please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave comments in the comment below. The more I do these things, I remember what you're supposed to say on YouTube, right? Also, for my Spotify listeners and for my Apple Podcast listeners, you can always leave some 5-star reviews. Leave me some reviews and anything like that. On Spotify, you can also respond to like the Q&As and the questions and stuff that I put on there. And then on Apple Podcasts, you can leave like full-fledged reviews and everything like that. So talk to ya girl, okay? Let me know what shows you want me to look up, what episodes, what movies, etc. I have a whole list, and I do this thing 2 to 3 times a week, so we could just fly through them together and just analyze everything, you know what I'm saying? And lastly, follow me on Instagram at So There's That Podcast. There's no spaces or anything like that at all. Just look me up. And if you want to email me, you can email me at sothere'sthat.kivanshi@gmail.com. So without further ado, let's get into this recap. So, as you can tell from the title, we're not recapping a specific episode. We're going to recap the series in a way, but more so, I wanted to talk about the show in order to talk about the essence of what this show is. I have been talking about the show to everybody, and not in particular about like, oh, did you see this episode last night? Or, oh, go watch this episode or whatever. I find that every time I mention this show, I'm talking about the intimacy of the entire series. And I love intimacy. I love eroticism. I love it all, especially because for me, I love it beyond the surface of what people may consume it as. And one point of reference that I will mention, and hopefully I can put the little, I didn't find the one image. I'm gonna talk about this one image, but then I'm gonna try to insert some clips of some images in here. That's gonna be like the nucleus of where wow, my spit just tried to take me out. That's going to be the nucleus of where I draw my source, and where, wow, my throat. I sound like Daniel Malloy. What are you doing to me? I actually don't think I talked a lot all day. Oh no, I was clowning and carrying on for a couple of hours this morning. Anyway, enough about me. So yeah, there's gonna be this scene that I draw from. Oh my god, like I am dying right now. Am I cursed? Should I not talk about this? Should I not talk about this episode? Literally, this just started happening. Oh my god. Through the nose, out through the mouth. Okay, so let me just, how do I want to start? Okay, I'll start with this. As a kid, I did not read the books. A lot of the books and stuff that I read, like Stephen King, Dean Koontz, and stuff like that, I had to like sneak and watch, because at one point I was in a household that it was just like, oh, this is the devil's music, this is the devil's whatever. And so like any kid, like a typical kid, you tell me not to do something, I'm gonna go sneak and do it. So I never got my hands on the books, but I did watch the movie, The Interview with a Vampire, and it just had such a profound like impact on me. I'm already like a night owl. I always like stay up all night. I loved sleeping all day. I would refer to myself as such, like as a vampire. I used to practice like killing all the lights and just going through like this different like parts of the house and the basement and stuff like that, knowing where everything is and adjusting my eyes to like the furniture and stuff in the room so that I could see, and I would use it to my advantage, playing like hide and go seek and stuff like that. So when this movie came out, it was just like amplified everything in me that was just like, yes, I'm a vampire. Like, and I want to be a vampire. And then Queen of the Damned came out, and it was just like, y'all. Then you have Blade. It was just like a lot of stuff going on that was really just in me to really like want to be a vampire one day. Obviously I can't be one in real life, but I knew like I'm going to be a vampire in something. And it just always stuck with me. Another thing that stuck with me in that movie was the emotions, and like how dynamic they were, because a lot of lore and stuff that you read, like vampires are just like monsters, and they're just here and they're just selfish and they're just here for their own needs. But you got to see like Brad Pitt's Louis kind of loathe being a vampire and really miss being a human. You get this like charismatic vampire in Lestat, Tom Cruise's Lestat, and then you get this like angry, like, but amazing and very dangerous vampire in Kirsten Dunst's character and portrayal of Claudia. And then of course Antonio Banderas, who I just was madly in love with. I was, oh my god, it's embarrassing at how in love I was with Antonio Banderas. Do not ask me how many times I've seen Desperado. Okay, more specifically that scene where Salma Hayek is singing to him over the bed and he's pulling the guns up from the side while she's singing this beautiful melody, and it's just so sweet and everything, and he's looking so good and he's all so steady and everything, and he starts like or whatever, in love. Anyway, this is not about him, but him as Armand, and it was just like, I don't know, really good. And then as I got older, I'm reading like Harry Potter books and stuff like that, and then I came across this great vampire series. It's like vampires, werewolves, witches, like the devil, angels, Cain and Abel, like everything. It's written by L.A. Banks, and it's the Vampire Huntress Legend. Hopefully I can put like a link to it in the show notes for like Amazon or something, and then I'll make sure I put it in the links in the description box for YouTube. Outstanding. It's 12 book series. It's a 12 book series. It's absolutely amazing. And most of the creatures are creatures of color, so like different races and everything like that. So all of this to say, like, vampirism is just always been interesting to me. Now, when I was in high school, my English teacher, Mrs. Long Henry, shout out to you, junior year, like we had to write a word paper, and you had to pick a word, and then you had to give like the denotative meaning, the connotative meaning. You had to give a Webster Oxford definition. You had to use a play and or book, so you could do either or. I did both. And you could do, and you had to use a movie. And so the movie that I chose was Interview with the Vampire. What was my word? Erotic / eroticism. And I chose it because even though the homoeroticism that is blatant in the books, that was like kind of touched on in the movie, I knew it was there. And the fact that they didn't go all the way is what I liked about it. Because there would just be this feeling that you got as a viewer that something intimate is happening, even when they were enraged with each other, and even when they were being kind with each other or poking fun at one another. There was always like this thread of something that was really binding and that was really personal, and it made you feel like you were looking in on something that you should not be looking at. Like, you're not looking at anything wrong, but you feel uncomfortable as if you're intruding on a moment that you aren't necessarily included in. And so take that from the movie and bring it over to the show, where they're actually in their adaptation really leaning into the relationship of Louis and Lestat, and the relationship of Louis and Armand, and the relationship of Louis and Claudia. And in the books where Louis kind of falls to the wayside, Louis is like the nucleus of all of these different relationships. And because of that draw, that pull that he has on monsters, right, to bring out the more sympathetic parts of themselves that they've long abandoned, it's all rooted in Louis's relationship to intimacy, and Louis's relationship to himself, and Louis's relationship to humanity. So that's basically what we're gonna be talking about, and I hope by the end of this you're like pressing play season 1 episode 1 on AMC Plus, and it's coming over to Netflix in the middle of August. I'm pretty sure it's August 18th. It's 18th or the 19th, but it's coming over to Netflix. AMC, congratulations for striking a streaming distribution deal. This is a huge deal, huge deal, especially since, and I talked about this in a previous episode, where Hulu kind of got their distribution and Peacock got their distribution, and Netflix kind of like got theirs, but then Netflix kind of went away from certain things, especially when they started making originals. So the fact that outside of The Walking Dead that they already had, AMC is now putting like all of the spin-off shows on there, and Interview with the Vampire, and I think the Immortal universe is actually going to be over there too. This is huge for AMC. Because they've just seen a spike in their direct subscriptions just based off of The Ones Who Live alone. Shout out to Denai, Andy, and Scott Grimes and Scott Gimple. So you had an influx of people watching cable again at night, even though they gotta work the next day. And then you had an influx of people who wanted to watch this at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 1 a.m., or whatever coast you're on for The Ones Who Live, and then going in immediately after The Ones Who Live was over and season 2 of Interview with a Vampire premiered, and people are still doing the same thing. I did not cancel my subscription. So this is very smart. So shout out to y'all for being super smart on that. Okay, so I knew I was gonna do this and I didn't have my notes, but I still want to give like information on like the director, the creator, things like that. So obviously we know that the books are based on Anne Rice's like vampiric universe. Seasons 1 and 2 are based on the first book, which is just the Interview with the Vampire, and it's more so like Louis' point of view and like Armand's point of view, and so you kind of get maybe 75 to 80% of like the truth of the things, especially as it pertains to how Louis remembers his relationship, how Armand remembers his relationship, how Armand manipulates Louis into remembering something that may or may not be real. Same thing with Daniel Malloy, the actual interviewer, and who Lestat actually is. So seasons 1 and 2 kind of like, season 1 to me felt like, if you haven't watched the movies in a long time, or if you did read the books but you haven't seen it in a really long time, it was a very beautiful 8-episode synopsis. It got you right to the point of what's going on. It got you right to the point of contention that this is going to be a battle between Louis and Lestat. So that way when you went into season 2 and you haven't read the books like me, and the movie didn't really have a follow-up per se, now it's like super refreshing because everything is based in, I think season 1 present day is 2022, and I think season 2 is 2022, because it was only like a 2-week difference from the start of that second interview till when Louis found out what Armand had done. So yeah, that's where we are. Interview with the Vampire creator. So obviously it's Anne Rice's, and the TV series is developed by Roland Jones for AMC, and the 2 main stars are Sam Reed as Lestat de Leoncourt and Jacob Anderson, aka Riley Ritchie, who plays Louis de Pointe du Lac. And then we have Assad, oh, what is his last name? What's Assad's last name? Assad Zaman, who plays Armand. And then we have Bailey Bass, who plays Claudia in season 1, and we have Delaney Hales, who plays Claudia in season 2. Before I go into like the nucleus of the intimacy of the show and why y'all should watch, I just want to say, I don't know if they pray on this set. I don't know if they believe in God on the set or any higher beings, but they are covered by the blood of Jesus Christ, the blood of Akasha, the blood of Magnus. They're covered by everybody, baby, the blood of Zeus. They could not have gotten a more perfect cast ever. Like I said earlier, Louis in the books kind of like falls to the wayside, but Jacob Anderson, you're going to know Louis's name. He ends season 2 with I Own the Night. Like, his ups and downs and his relationships with being a human and being a vampire is like the core of everything. Even when he's not the center of it all, he's the core of it. It's the heart. Like, he's really the heart of the show. And Bailey Bass did a phenomenal job as Claudia. And then for whatever reason, she couldn't go on with season 2, and Delaney Hales only had like a few weeks to kind of prep and get it together, and to come in and have the entire internet, like most times with Black women and just replacements in general, and so I say both, because Black women are always subject to, like, it has to be a competition. There can't ever be both. But I've also seen in is it Spartacus, the TV show, when the lead passed away and they replaced him, and the actor was good, but the mass consensus was it's not the same. When Delaney Hales came in as Claudia, it was like, holy crap, we have 2 Claudias. Like, you have the Claudia that first turned and she was kind of younger, and she's starting to get into that anger where she's realizing, I'm never gonna get older. I have these feelings. I want relationships. I want to be how you are. Louis, Lestat, Louis, you're in love, and I can never have that because everybody will look at me like a child. To then getting Delaney and just taking it and continuing that mental maturation and growing as a vampire, but also that anger and that angst growing in her because her mind is still getting older, so she's more worldly. And so Delaney never replaced Bailey. They are literally the like one person. In Delaney, just, it was like passing the baton, and she just grabbed it and took off with it. And it's just so beautiful to have both of them in this iconic character. Like, I really would love to see Kirsten Dunst, Bailey Bass, and Delaney Hales just meet and talk and just be Claudia's. Because to me, none of them can replace each other. They all exist at the same time, and that is phenomenal. Like, you don't get that in TV. You, like, especially as an audience member, we're typically mourning who we lost, especially if they did so well. But I can honestly say, on the internet, especially on Twitter, because Twitter can be a dark place, I haven't seen a single person try to pit Delaney against Bailey and vice versa. And I've only seen people be like, I wish we could have both of them forever. So shout out to them for doing just amazing work and just being phenomenal actresses. Like, I hope that my Pinky can act as much as they do. I'm working on it. I'm doing my things. I'm getting my gigs and I'm taking my feedback and everything like that. But like, just phenomenal. Everybody in the show just delivers a master class. Who's it? Eric Brognian? He plays Daniel Malloy. I follow him on Instagram. I should probably get his name right. I'm going into Instagram right now. Bogosian. Jesus Christ. I was in the neighborhood. Phenomenal. The actor who played the younger him when we did that flashback episode in season 2. Everybody is just, it's like Roland Jones said, in the writer's room, they keep an empty chair for Anne Rice, so that everybody goes in there keeping the spirit and keeping the heart of what she wanted, while adapting it to updated stories in current situations in like a current tone, and to have that reverence in the room without feeling like, oh, I can do better. It seems like they just want to do her justice, and that is great, because as an avid reader, you don't get a lot of book adaptations that are good. It's always something missing. And in this, they're not trying to be the books, and that is phenomenal. But what they're doing is keeping the personalities of the characters and amplifying them, so that when they introduce the other stories and the other characters, even in this new world, in this 2022, 2024 of things, it's still, you still recognize the character. Even if the words have changed, even if the year has changed, you know who that person is. And that is where Roland Jones and the entire cast is just killing it. Okay, now let's talk about the intimacy. Oh my God, it makes me blush. Okay, Louis is like the big man in town, on his side of town, in New Orleans, 1910, I believe. And he is respected as a Negro man, but to a point. So the setting is like, you know, it's like fresh off of Emancipation Proclamation, but you can tell his family maybe were not slaves, or maybe his family was the slaves that enslaved their other family members so that they could keep the entire family together. But you could just tell, like, they got money, they're good, people know their name, people know the Dulacs. And so he got a little pool in town, and you know, he popping his shit or whatever, and something happens like one night, and he gets into it with his brother Paul, and he ends up pulling this knife out of like this cane thing that he's walking around with, and he held it to his brother's throat. And Lestat sees that, and it's like love at first sight. He's like, oh my God, for you to hold this knife to your brother's throat. You are my companion. You are my monster. I can be a monster with you because you are a total monster who does that in the middle of everyone. Like, how amazing are you? So Lestat, you know, places his sights on Louis. So immediately Lestat kind of does his tricks on Louis, where he can talk to him in his mind and do things like that and kind of like enchant in a way. And he's like seeing like all about town or whatever. And Louis goes to meet one of the girls at the parlor that he owns, and Lestat is sitting with Lily, and he does that thing again, and Louis is like getting like sucked into this whole thing. And they all decide, cool, we're gonna turn in for the night. So Lily is getting undressed, and Louis is sitting on the couch, and Lestat says aloud, Lily tells me that when you come back with her that you only talk. And Lily mentions something, just kind of like, not to like bash him or anything like that, but she enjoys Louis' company. Like, that's also, they have like a friendship, even though she is like one of the escorts, I guess, if you will. And so she's sitting down, whatever, everything like that. She starts like, you know, just kissing Louis on the cheek and, you know, unbuttoning his shirt and everything. And this part, this scene to me is like the tone of Louis and Lestat. This is one of those scenes where like the intimacy, the chemistry between them as actors and as characters became a third character in this moment. So Lestat is talking to Louis in his mind while Lily is like kissing on him and stuff like that and unbuttoning his clothes. And Louis says out loud, how do you do that? Lily don't hear any of this because Lestat is talking to Louis in his mind. And she says, do what? And then Lestat, from his mind to Louis' mind, says, do what? And it was just the sexiest, flirtiest, like, I don't even know. At that moment, Lestat begins to unbutton his shirt too. And Louis, so they're both like looking at each other. So this girl's like kissing on him, everything like that, but they are just looking at each other. And Lestat is matching the pace in which Louis' top is becoming undone. And before we move forward, this scene to me right there at that moment was just so important. Like I said, talking about that intimacy. While Lestat has been throughout this entire episode kind of like revealing a little bit of himself and kind of charming him in a little way and doing a little enchanting thing in a certain way, Louis didn't run. And Louis was curious as to what that is. So in this moment, it's like, well, why doesn't Louis do anything with Lily when they're by themselves? And why is he participating in it now? And so you question, is Lestat getting him to do something that he wouldn't normally do? Not like in a coercive way, but he's so curious, and he's so curious that he can't turn away. So he's willing to participate in whatever it is that Lestat wants to do to continue to discover who Lestat is. And it's kind of like when you like somebody, right? You know, you got a crush, they got a crush, but you don't really want them to know that you're crushing, and they be like, oh, you want to go horseback riding? And like, you ain't never been on a horse a day in your life, and you're just like, yeah, I'll go horseback riding. Like, you're willing to see where it can go because of your curiosity and because of feelings that you don't quite understand yet. And so all of that is kind of like in between them, and it's very charged, because Louis does not understand yet, and Lestat is looking to see if a consent will occur. And I really like that too, because Lestat, while he's watching, and then while he's getting undressed, and he walks over, but he walks over behind Lily. He doesn't go to Louis. And so to me, that was just like a little bit of deference. He's letting Louis come to him. And he's just like languidly, you know, just like touching, just like a lazy participant at this point. And Louis stops kissing Lily and begins kissing Lestat's hand. And y'all can watch it to see what he did with his hand. But so then he starts kissing his hand and he throws it away, and Lily takes Louis' face in her hands and she's like, it's okay, like there's no judgment here. Like, and I like that she said that, because again, like I said at the beginning, as somebody who likes vampires, or somebody who likes eroticism and intimacy and everything like that, I don't believe that gender roles, I guess, should exist in a sexual experience. Consent, absolutely. Of age, absolutely. We not doing none of that over here. But vampires, right? It's just like a bundle of nerves, and it's all about feelings, and it's all about making you feel. And so her saying that kind of reinforces Lestat in a way where this is a space of nothing but carnal pleasure, and you can give in to that because the people in this room recognize, accept, and understand that that's what it is. There is no shame here. And I really like that, because when she says that, he kind of like looks at Lestat and kind of relaxes a little bit, and now Louis is kind of questioning Lestat now. So like in the beginning it was like Lestat's kind of like, I want to let Louis come to me. And after she says that, and there's kind of like this shared look, I see, that's just my interpretation, my eyes, Louis kind of now putting the ball back in Lestat's court and is letting Lestat come to him. And Come to Me, which is a song that I've been listening to and singing for 3 weeks. Beautiful song. Sam Reed did a phenomenal job, but that is the theme. Come to me. And in this room, without words, without Lestat even going into his mind, they are calling to each other. So Lestat does something that only, you know, those roses that you can buy off Amazon to Lily, and she kind of like crashes and burns. I would love to have like an interview after dark to ask that question, like, because as you watch it, it is fast, and the only like the Rose Girls know what I'm talking about. Anyways, so Lestat gave Lily a kiss from a rose, and Louis is like breathing heavy, and Lestat looks to be holding his breath. So now it's Lestat, right? And it's the look is come to me. And Louis makes the first move, and they have this beautiful Shakespearean ballet, like sexual moment in the middle of the room. It was very much a dance, and it was very much of just a clash of just two humans allowing desire to take hold of them and to take control of them in that moment. And it's like unabashed, and it's its own, like I said, it's its own entity, right? When you watch it, I won't say how many times I've seen it. Honestly, I rewound the scene before Louis actually kisses him and everything. The scene that I just previously described, I rewinded that so much to look at their faces. Again, that playfulness, the questions in Louis' eyes, the answers, the calls to each other. It how do I explain this to somebody at work? I was like, that moment was like the crescendo in music. And while a lot of things will crescendo and then do like a decrescendo and fade out, that moment was the crescendo, and then the point in which they actually connected and basically consummated their relationship was still, we're still in the note of the crescendo. And when it was over, it was like the conductor just did the little hands to just stop the music, and it was just like dun, and then that's it. It never faded out. And that is their relationship. Like, there is no fizzle. It's all just energy, power, masculinity, toxic masculinity, femininity, divine energy, sexuality. Like, it's everything. It's desire, it's anger, it's hate, it's love, it's lust, it's ego, it's pride. And the moments where it's the most dangerous is the moments where they want to deny it within themselves the most. And that is where this relationship between Louis and Lestat could be so perfect. If they were the best immature versions of themselves, and I'm gonna describe that. If they were the best immature versions of themselves, they would be the perfect monsters together as companions, okay? But because they're what do I call it? They're lesser, the things that are the least developed within them are at odds with one another. And so now they're like two electrons or two protons. Every time they get close, it's automatically repelling from each other, because there's just things in them right now that they need to address alone in order for it to actually work. So let's start with Louis. Lestat thought Louis would be his perfect companion, okay? Because Lestat thinks of himself as just a monster, unlovable, doesn't care a lot. But if I can get with somebody who feels the same way, then maybe they will love me, and then we can just be two careless people in the night. And because he jumped the gun, he turned Louis before Louis was ready. And it's kind of like when you get in a relationship with somebody and you're just like going off your hormones, and you realize that they have like hella trauma. So Louis, his brother killed himself. The mama blamed him. He's getting ostracized from his family while also being the breadwinner of his family, keeping a roof over their head. He's trying to get his sister married off and all these other things. And so it's like the world is on his shoulders, and the people who are supposed to be uplifting him, his family, they're turning on him and he has nowhere to go. And the thing is, he wants family. He wants family. He wants peace. He wants that part of what makes us human, where we continue to suffer even from the people who are supposed to love us the most, because maybe one day they will love us back. And so Louis gets turned with that in him. As a vampire, yes, you're going to be all beautiful and everything, and you do all these other things, but what is in you is now amplified. So while you have a lot of power, you have a lot of pain. And there you weren't in therapy. You wasn't in therapy. Now you have a lot of pain. And then it comes out that you were like secretly gay, because he says something like, I can't do that down here, not be black and be an openly homosexual man. And while he didn't think of himself or assign that label to him at that time, he knew he was attracted to men. So now it's, I'm a vampire, but I'm still beefing with my family. I'm still depressed about my brother. Still depressed about my mom blaming me for my brother. I think I'm gay. I can't come out. What is happening? And so you have all of this in here. So because he wants to contend to that and like focus only on that and live in that pain and self-torture that he creates for himself, he's rejecting the vampire side. Now let's go to Lestat. Lestat loves being a monster, and he thought he found his perfect monster mate. Monster match? Monster mash. Hop, skip, and jump right onto that. But he sees like he made a terrible decision. And he loves Louis. Something in Louis says, come to me. It just is what it is. And the thing that keeps Lestat around, though, is so while Louis is chasing humanity and wants to go away from being a vampire, Lestat is chasing the monster while trying to deny the fact that he was once kind and possessed within him the potential for kindness. Oh, my shirt, it says, kind people are my kind of people. I think Lestat would wear this in an interview, but like ironically. I don't know if y'all have watched this before, but Sam Reed, Roland Jones, all of y'all, just throw him in like a crop top. Kind people are my kind of people. And then let's go on this journey of the vampire Lestat in season 3. So yeah, so as I'm reading the vampire Lestat, so the vampire Lestat is book 2, but it's gonna be season 3. So like I said, book 1 was broken up into 2 seasons, and it was perfect. It was heartbreaking. It was beautiful. Oh my God. The first season 1, episode 1, season 2, episode 8. It's like I felt the same, but then like exponentially more emotional. I could cry right now. It was just them. It's them. The name of the first episode, I took a picture of it. The name of the very first episode, and I need to find the name of the last episode because maybe they like overlap, is, so season 1, episode 1, title, In Throes of Increasing Wonder. So obviously they're both in the throes of wondering about each other. Now let me look at this interview. Enter my fingers with the vampire season 2, episode 8 title. And that's the end of it. There's nothing else. The sentences kind of complete each other. Whoo, if you just say that together, in the throes of increasing wonder, at the end of it, there's nothing else. Hold on. Am I spitting bars right now? Am I spitting or am I spitting? Hawk. Let me stop. Am I in focus? I'm doing too much. This is what I get. This is what I get. Let me scoot up. Plan. So anyways, season 1, episode 1. Can y'all stop? It is not that deep. I know. He's being a little shit. These are my dogs. The one that you heard barking is a Shih Tzu. They're fighting over the bed as if like they don't have a cot and a blanket. I don't know what's happening. So yeah, season 1, episode 1, Louis and Lestat. Season 2, episode 8, Louis and Lestat. And one of the big scenes that I like to think about when I think about both of those episodes is the altar scene, specifically in episode 1, where the church is on fire. Lestat has blood all over his face. He's showing himself to Louis and exposing himself in being vulnerable. Like, this is me. I am a monster. I love you. Will you love me back? Will you be with me? Will you be my companion? And so it's the two of them, and Louis crying, and it's destruction all around them. Season 2, episode 8, Louis comes to Lestat, and Lestat is crying, and there's a hurricane, and there's destruction all around them. And so both of these moments, fire and water, destruction, and in the destruction and in the storm, it is only and always forever Louis and Lestat. So why am I obsessed? Like, what's not to be obsessed about? Like, are you listening to me? I don't know if y'all be watching like Living Single and stuff like that, but I always say it just like that. Are you listening to me? It's the episode where Maxine got fired because she appropriately advised her clients to get a prenuptial agreement, and then her man was like, I'm not getting married to you no more. So yeah, anyways, things. This is me. Accept me or don't. I'm looking forward to, one, I'm loving the fact that in the books, it's 1984 when Lestat comes up, joins a rock band, and sees that Louis has exposed all of them. So you're not supposed to expose other vampires. And it's in 1984. So obviously here it's 2022 at the end of season 2, and Louis found out what Armand did. Y'all need to watch the show to figure out what Armand did, because oh my god, a silent villain and probably the most evil character I have ever seen. Just an evil in the most dangerous way. Kind eyes, kind tone, kind spirit. Y'all know when y'all be watching them true crime shows, and it'd be like the husband, and he has like 4 kids, and he's always at their baseball games and at their track meets. He's never missed a birthday. He buys his wife's gifts. They have no issues. They've been married for 15 years, and then you find out like they killed like 50 people, and 26 of those bodies are buried underneath your yard, and you're like, what? That is Armand. So yeah, go and just go and watch the journey of that, because my goodness, it's wow, I love it. I cannot wait to see Armand in season 3. But anyways, so not only am I looking forward to that, but I'm looking forward to in this updated version, because the trailer is out for The Vampire Lestat season 3, and he has a song out. And I randomly be, whoa, oh, wow. I just like, I don't know, it's just a lot. I love it. They're setting things up for Akasha, which Aaliyah played in Queen of the Damned. I don't know if she's gonna come here, but we're setting up like a storyline to make sure her entrance makes sense, and to make sure that Lestat is at the personality point that draws Akasha to him. So regardless of the storyline, Lestat has to still be a certain way that makes her come to him. So it's gonna be fun to see this Lestat read the book and react to the book. In the Anne Rice novels, he's writing his own story, because he feels regret that he never told Louis about his life before he became a vampire, even though Louis always wanted to know. Lestat was like, no, that's not important. And he was beautiful. He was beautiful, and he was kind. And he had a terrible upbringing, and the only person who loved him was his mother and Nikki. I don't know if his maker loved him, Magnus. I'm not there yet, but I'm at the point where his mom loves him and Nikki. They like, you know that. And so I think in our version, in the adaptation, I think he's doing like a televised interview. So that's gonna be fun, because in the today of things, like just seeing it on TV or like a YouTube interview series, that's fun. Actually, that's like a really fun updated take. I'm looking forward to more Sam Reed songs. I really love his voice. It's very mesmerizing. It's entrancing. And the fact that Sam is just so bashful in real life just kind of makes it more, it makes you more curious. So couldn't have been a more perfect Lestat. Like, I think he could talk right now and we would all be just like moths to a flame. And I'm looking forward to more Louis Lestat interactions. I want to see Louis respond to Lestat's response to him. And I wonder if Lestat's intentions in the adaptation will be the same as his intentions in the book. So in the book, he wants to respond with his own book as well, not just for Louis to read and understand and, you know, potentially reconcile the relationship, I don't know, but he wants to anger the other vampires. Like, he wants to do for very personal and vain and egotistical reasons. And Lestat has a lot of fun when he's that way. He's a lot of fun when he's that way. But because this character arc in the adaptation, they have a little bit more depth to them, I wonder if his other motivations will include simply pissing off the vampire community. Now, it would make sense because of what the coven that he founded did to his daughter, but at least it would have like an anchor of the Claudia's storyline behind it, on like a revenge type of thing, to draw them out to seek revenge, versus in the book where I am right now, it just kind of seems like I just want to piss them off. And what are they going to do anyway? Expose themselves? No, they're going to be sitting there hiding in the dark trying to wait to jump me, but they're not going to be able to get to me. So yeah, that is going to be really fun. I'm looking forward to the outfits. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. But so there's that. On Interview with the Vampire seasons 1 and 2, I just, if you couldn't tell, I get infatuated by the grand affair of you. No, let me stop. I've been singing a song too much. It's just beautiful show. Beautiful show. perfect cast, perfect script, perfect timing. Perfect timing. Oh my God. I would love a fall drop. I know since the strike has ended, a lot of people got pushed into like a late, just like the beginning of the year into the summer, but then immediately started production so they can get back on the fall, winter schedule. Roland keeps saying, I don't know. He has his book with all his notes, so I don't know if they're in production. Definitely pre-pro. But I haven't heard any production announcements, so I don't know if we'll get it in the winter. But if they stay with their 8-episode model, then we're probably not going to get it until February, March of 2025. And in the meantime, I'm gonna be sad, and I'm just gonna continue to binge all their interviews, all the Comic-Con stuff, all of everything, finish reading the book, keep watching the episodes, because that thing in me that connected with this story all those years ago with the movie adaptation in the 90s is still here. And as somebody who still writes and acts and stuff like that, just watching it all unfold with the knowledge that I have in my brain now, it just feels different. I don't even know if the average person who's like a super fan feels this, or maybe I'm a super fan and I just haven't accepted it yet. But I feel big things. Like Willow Smith said, I have great big feelings. Can't shut them down or let them out. Like, I can't get rid of them, and I can't get them out of my system. It's bad. That's gonna wrap up today's episode. Thank y'all for rocking with me. I am not getting paid for this. This is not endorsed. Go watch AMC's Interview with the Vampire. Go read the books. Watch the interviews. It's a phenomenal story. It's a phenomenal adaptation. And I promise you, if your mind is just open to art, you will not be disappointed. If you're closed off to things and maybe have some undiscovered bigotry and stereotypes and things of that nature, it may shock you. But I just ask that you watch the art as art and allow yourself to accept its interpretation within you, in a way where you can understand the deeper meaning and the deeper relationships behind everything that's going on. Because at the end of the day, this is like a Shakespearean tragedy, and it's beautiful.